close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It's just before dawn at Angkor Wat. The air is thick and warm. Cicadas are buzzing like a soft electric current in the trees, and you can hear the low murmur of visitors shuffling along the causeway in the dark, hoping they picked the right spot for sunrise. A rooster call somewhere beyond the moat, and then the sky finally exhales this faint gray-blue light. Ahead of you, the outline of Angkor Wat's tower sharpens, and that first blade of sunlight slips through a doorway and stretches along the stone causeway like a glowing river of fire. It feels magical, but here's the secret most people never hear. That light is not an accident. You're standing inside a giant compass and a map of the universe carved in stone.
And once you know where to look, you realize you're not just watching a sunrise. You're watching the temple do exactly what it was designed to do: catch the sun, reflect the sky in its waters, and guide your body, step by step, through a three-dimensional mandala of the Khmer universe.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes, where every stone has a story, and every story has a voice. I'm your host, James Bradley.
And I'm your co-host, Samnang Bradley. Today, we're going to do something I absolutely love. Take a place that everybody photographs and show you the chapter of its story that most people walk right past.
This episode is called Celestial Maps and Serpent Roads, Reading the Cosmic Design of Angkor Wat. We'll explore why Angkor Wat might be the world's most beautiful diagram of the cosmos, why it faces west when most temples face east, how its moats, naga balustrades, and towers mirror sacred mountains and oceans, and how the sun itself becomes part of the architecture.
We're joined by two wonderful guests. First, we have Dr. Lena Soth, an Angkor archaeologist who specializes in temple layout and cosmology. She helps us see the logic under the beauty. Lena, welcome to Ancient Echoes.
Thank you, James and Samnang. I'm really happy to be here. Any excuse to talk about Angkor Wat as more than just a pretty postcard makes my day.
And we also have with us my favorite sunrise companion at Angkor, cultural guide and storyteller, Vanak Chair. He leads visitors through the temple in the half-light, and he's brilliant at connecting these cosmic ideas to lived Khmer belief and everyday experience.
Sote, everyone. Thanks for having me. I spend most mornings watching people look at the sky and forget to look down at the stones under their feet. So I'm excited we get to talk about what they're actually walking through.
So let's discover the echoes of history and unlock the stories of the past woven into Angkor Wat's design. Lena, I want to start big picture. When you say Angkor Wat is a cosmic diagram, what do you actually mean? Because that sounds almost mystical, but you're an archaeologist.
It does sound mystical, but it's actually very practical. When the builders of Angkor Wat designed the temple, they weren't only making a palace for a god or a monument to a king. They were creating a miniature universe. The ground plan, the vertical towers, the water, the orientation, all of it follows ideas from Indian cosmology that had been localized in Khmer thought. So when we say cosmic diagram, think of a map you can walk inside. Instead of reading it with your eyes on paper, you read it with your feet and your body as you move from the outer world toward the sacred center.
I love that, reading with your feet. For someone hearing this in their car or on a bus, can you sketch a little bit of the history and context? Like, who built Angkor Wat, when, and why on earth does this massive, world-famous temple face west when most temples greet the sunrise from the east?
Angkor Wat was built in the early 12th century under King Suryavarman II, at the height of the Khmer Empire. It was originally dedicated to Vishnu, a major Hindu deity. Now, most temples do face east, towards the rising sun, but Vishnu in Khmer tradition is closely associated with the west and with the setting sun. So the west-facing orientation does a few things at once. It connects Angkor Wat to Vishnu. It aligns the temple with the path of the sun across the sky, and it creates a kind of ritual journey where you walk westward, towards sunset, and symbolically towards death or the other world, before turning inside and moving upward toward rebirth and the divine center.
So just in the way you approach the temple, you're already participating in a story about time and transformation, even if you've never heard of Vishnu or Mount Meru.
Exactly. I see this all the time. Tourists walk in, it's still dark, and they're thinking only about coffee and where do I stand for the best photo. But the Khmer builders imagined that first long walk as something like leaving the human world behind. The moat is the outer ocean, the causeway is your bridge from one realm to another, and each step west, toward that silhouette of the towers, takes you deeper into the cosmic story.
Let's stay with that walk for a second, because this is where Angkor Wat becomes a mandala you can really feel. Lena, can you give us a simple walking map of the site, almost like a mental tour from the outer edge to the central tower?
Sure. So picture yourself arriving at the edge of a huge rectangular moat. It's about 190 meters across, so wide that the temple looks like it's floating on an island. In cosmology, that water isn't just a ditch. It represents the cosmic ocean surrounding the world. You cross a long stone causeway over that water and pass through the main gate. Once you're inside, the temple rises in terraces. You move through a series of rectangular galleries, each one higher and more enclosed than the last. Think of them like mountain ranges or concentric walls around a sacred mountain. At the very center, on the highest platform, stands the central tower. That tower is Mount Meru, the cosmic mountain at the center of the universe in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology. So your path goes ocean, continent, mountain ranges, then the world axis mountain itself.
So if someone's listening on a treadmill right now, you're basically walking the Angkor Wat journey already. But imagine instead of burning calories, you're crossing the cosmic ocean, climbing invisible mountains, and ending up at the spiritual North Pole of the universe.
And that explains why the ground plan looks like these nested rectangles. It's not just a nice geometric design. It's a compressed universe. Every step inward is a step closer to the sacred center.
One thing I like to tell guests when we reach the first inner gallery is, okay, now imagine that the noise of motorbikes and the city is gone. Historically, inside these galleries, you're leaving behind the chaotic outside world. The carvings, the narrow stairways, the changing light, they're all telling you, without words, you've gone somewhere else. You're not just in a building, you're inside a story about the universe.
I want to talk about some of the most photographed but least understood details of that story. The serpents. Those long stone balustrades with what looks like a many-headed dragon at the end. People lean on them for photos all the time. Vanak, when your guests ask, "What's with the snake?" how do you answer?
They ask that a lot. I tell them first, it's not just any snake, it's a naga. And nagas in Khmer belief are powerful water and underworld beings. They can be protectors, they can be ancestors. Many Khmer legends say our people are descended from a naga princess. At Angkor Wat, the naga balustrades are like stone bridges made of serpent bodies. The causeway you walk on is resting on this naga form. So symbolically, the naga is what lets humans cross the cosmic ocean and approach the sacred mountain. It's a bridge not just between two banks of water, but between human, naga, and divine realms. From an archaeological point of view, that symbolism fits beautifully with the environment. The Khmer world is full of rivers, rice fields, floodplains, all tied to water. The Mekong, Tonle Sap, these great bodies of water are the veins of life. Nagas are water beings, so using them as bridges and guardians around a temple that's also a mountain in the middle of an ocean makes perfect sense.
I've always loved how the naga causeways feel like they're reaching out. Their bodies are the railing. Their many heads flare at the ends of the bridge like a fan. It's almost like the temple is saying, "Come, but don't forget, you need help to cross between worlds. You don't do this journey alone."
So, when you grip that stone rail, you're literally putting your hand on a cosmic bridge. Next time you visit Angkor, please lean on the naga with respect.
Now, we've talked about ground plans and serpents and cosmic oceans, but there's another layer to this temple as map idea, the sky itself. Angkor Wat doesn't just symbolize the cosmos, it actually interacts with the movement of the sun. Lena, for people who have heard whispers about equinox alignments and so on, can you walk us through what's really happening with the sun and the stones?
Yes, and I promise we won't get too technical. The simplest way to think about it is this. The builders were paying close attention to where the sun rises and sets at different times of the year. Angkor Wat is oriented so that around the equinoxes, those days in March and September when day and night are roughly equal, the sun appears to rise directly over or very close to the central tower when viewed from certain points on the causeway. If you're standing at the right spot, the sun doesn't just appear anywhere in the sky. It climbs up like a glowing crown behind the main tower. It's a powerful visual where the architecture and the solar cycle line up to mark a balance point in the year.
So, for people listening, imagine that sunrise you've seen 1,000 times on postcards. Except now, you know that moment is keyed to the rhythm of the year, almost like Angkor Wat is a giant stone calendar as well as a mandala.
Exactly. And even beyond equinoxes, the way light and shadow move through the doorways and galleries matters. At different times of day, certain bas-reliefs are washed in light, while others fall into shadow. In a ritual context, that play of light could guide which stories you see most clearly as you move, or which doorways feel inviting versus closed. When I do sunrise tours, I watch the light like a second guide. Early on, the outer galleries feel cool and gray. The carvings are just outlines. Then, as the sun rises, a particular corridor suddenly glows gold, and everyone gasps. I'll say, "Okay, now look at which reliefs have come alive." That's the temple pointing your attention right there.
So the temple teaches with light as much as with stone. You're not just reading images, you're reading the timing of how they appear to you.
Let's talk about those images, because for a lot of visitors, the bas-reliefs at Angkor Wat are overwhelming. It's like walking into a library where every book is open at once. Lena, big question. If the temple is a cosmic diagram, what are the reliefs doing in that diagram? Are they just stories, or are they also part of this map?
They're very much part of the map. The long galleries at Angkor Wat are lined with scenes from Hindu epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, as well as historical processions and cosmic battles. These aren't arranged as a simple linear history. Instead, they explore different aspects of time, virtue, kingship, and cosmic order. For example, the famous churning of the ocean of milk scene, one of the most iconic reliefs, shows gods and demons using a naga as a rope to churn the cosmic ocean and produce the elixir of immortality. Architecturally, that's placed along a major axis where people will definitely pass. Symbolically, it's about balancing opposing forces to renew the universe.
So again, we get this idea of nagas as cosmic bridges, but this time they're stretching across time itself, helping to regenerate the world.
Right, and other reliefs show royal processions, battles, and heavenly realms. Rather than reading them left to right as a single story, you can think of each panel as a window into a different aspect of the cosmic and moral order that Angkor Wat is modeling. Together, they surround you with reminders of how humans, gods, and time itself are supposed to work.
For listeners who might eventually visit, can we give them a super simple way to read just one section without getting lost? Like, you've only got 20 minutes before your kids melt down. What do you do?
I would say choose one famous scene, like the churning of the ocean of milk on the East Gallery, and spend 5 minutes really looking. Start by standing back to see the overall composition, then move closer and ask 3 questions. Who are the main figures? What are they doing physically? And where is the tension? Are they pulling, fighting, celebrating, or praying? Even if you don't know the names of the deities, you'll notice opposites, gods and demons, heaven and underworld, chaos and order. That's enough to feel how the relief is about balancing the universe. You don't need to memorize every character to understand the emotional and symbolic core. I often tell families on my tours, pick one corner, one story, and let it talk to you. Kids will point out tiny details adults ignore, like a monkey warrior making a funny face or a soldier losing his shoe. Those details are there on purpose. They remind us that even in these grand cosmic stories, there are human moments, humor, fear, and everyday life.
So we've walked the cosmic ocean, crossed Naga bridges, climbed the stone Mount Meru, watched the sun crown the towers, and peeked into these carved windows of time. I want to bring this down now to the very practical. How can someone visit Angkor Wat with new eyes after hearing all this?
Let's imagine a simple plan. You arrive before sunrise, you've had at least one coffee, and you've got this episode downloaded. Vanik, where do you think people should stand first, and what should they pay attention to beyond just, is the sky pink enough for Instagram?
I would start on the main causeway, but not all the way at the front gate with the big crowd. Step a little to the side, near one of the naga balustrades. As the light comes up, first look down. Notice the width of the moat. Feel the stone under your feet, and put your hand on the naga railing. Remind yourself, I'm standing on a bridge between worlds. Then look up and watch how the outline of the tower sharpens. If you're there around the equinox, pay attention to where the sun rises in relation to that central tower. Even if it's not perfectly aligned that day, you'll feel how the architecture frames the sky like a giant window. After the main sunrise moment, don't rush straight to the very top. Take a slow walk around one of the outer galleries. Pick one relief scene, like we talked about, and give it those 5 or 10 minutes of focused attention. Then, as you move inward, keep asking yourself, am I going higher? Is the space getting tighter or more open? Is it darker or brighter? Your body's sensations are a guide to where you are in the cosmic map.
Also, don't forget the water. If you can, take a moment by one of the ponds in front of the temple when it's quieter. Look at the reflection of the towers in the water, and then lift your eyes to the real towers. That simple movement, down to the reflection, up to the sky, is a little meditation on how Angkor Wat links heaven and earth.
And if you're not traveling anytime soon, that's okay. You can still walk this temple with us through images. Over on Samnang's YouTube channel, we've put together some simple diagrams and sunrise clips that go with this episode, so you can actually see the cosmic ocean, the concentric galleries, the naga bridges, and the solar alignments we've been talking about.
Yes, on the channel you'll find a video called Angkor Wat Cosmic Map Tour. It breaks down the temple step by step with drone shots and simple overlays, no fancy jargon. If you hit play while you listen to parts of this episode again, it's almost like walking the site with us.
We also really want to see Angkor Wat through your eyes. If you visited before, dig up your favorite photo, maybe that sunrise silhouette, or a close-up of a naga, or a relief that puzzled you, and share it on social media. Tag the show at Ancient Echoes, and tag Samnang's channel too. Tell us where you were standing and what you noticed. We might even take some of your photos and do short breakdown videos. Here's the cosmic ocean in your picture. Or here's why that doorway lines up with the light just so.
And if you haven't been yet, but you're dreaming of it, send us your questions. What confuses you about Angkor Wat? Is it the history, the myths, the astronomy? We'll pick a few questions to answer in a future bonus episode, and maybe even build a little virtual walk just for you.
As we wrap up, I keep coming back to that image from the very beginning. You, standing in the pre-dawn dark, waiting for the sun. After today, I hope you won't just be waiting for a pretty sky. You'll know that beneath your feet is a cosmic ocean, that the rails you touch are serpent roads between realms, and that the towers in front of you are not just stone. They're a model of the universe reaching into the sky.
For us Cambodians, Angkor Wat isn't only about the past. It's a living bridge between earth and sky, between our ancestors and our children. Every time someone walks that causeway with a little more understanding, the temple becomes alive again.
And from the archaeologist side, I'll add this. You don't need to remember every term or date. If you leave with the feeling that the layout, the water, the serpents, the sun, and the stories are all connected, that's already a deep reading of Angkor Wat.
If this conversation has opened something for you, maybe you'll look at your old Angkor photos differently, or you've added Cambodia to your wish list, please share this episode with a friend who loves history or travel. And come find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search for Ancient Echoes and for my channel under Samnang Bradley.
Hit follow or subscribe in your podcast app so you don't miss our next journey into Cambodia's past. We've got an upcoming episode on the secret language of Angkor's dancing apsaras that you will not want to miss.
Thank you, Lena and Vanek, for guiding us through this walkable star map. And to everyone listening, whether you're under the towers of Angkor or under a very different sky tonight, journey through time with us again soon. Let's unlock the echoes of history together.